What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome back to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co-host, Jeff Santa. Today, we are bringing you guys the Week 12 loss for the Cleveland Browns against the Denver Broncos, putting the Cleveland Browns at 7-4, Broncos at 6-5. Important to note that just in case playoffs come into the talking point here, but a 29-12 loss for your Brownies. Listen, I don't know where Jeff's going to go. Honestly, for me, it's a lot of I'm giving this team a lot of breaks. I don't know what to say other than we're missing a whole lot of guys.
Sure.
Your quarterbacks suck outside of your QB1 who missed basically the beginning of the season and then, goes out against the Ravens after a win. And you're left with DTR, who gets a win against Pittsburgh, not in any super great fashion or anything, but still gets the win over a rivalry team against Mike Tomlin and that record he has with rookie quarterbacks. And then you come into the Broncos game, and the Broncos, like Jeff and I had said last week, I'm sure there were a lot of people who felt like we should have just won this game, but the Broncos have been playing well. They are now 5-0 in the last 5 games. But when you really look at the box score, I think for me, it's just your quarterbacks are bad. For me, it's just the quarterbacks are bad. I think DTR had a really nice drive going in the 2-minute drill, and that was great and all. But I'm at the point now where it's just throw Flacco in. There's no point in not just throwing Flacco in. And that's kind of where I sit. The defense was the defense. I wasn't too happy about the run defense in particular. But again, you play elevations, again, not making excuses or nothing, but it is, home field advantage. You play at high elevation. Miles hears something pop in his shoulder, gives me this season's cooked vibe, but comes out today. Kevin says that he's just day to day. So we'll see how that goes. But Jeff, I rambled on long enough. How are you doing? Let me hear what you've got.
I don't think you really missed right there because, take the injuries out of the equation because I understand that you can't, but you can't do anything about it. So if you take the circle and the injuries are on the outside, okay, let's go inside the circle. You're playing the hottest team in the NFL.
Yep.
Of course. Just typical. Let me just go through the list of things that upset me yesterday, and it's not going to be a list I don't think people are going to be expecting. So it upsets me that we're on the road, obviously, but we talked about this. If you win in LA next week and you split this road trip, could you really ask for anything more? Not really. Sure, we went 2-0, but okay, whatever. You're on the road. I'm upset. You're playing the hottest team in the NFL, no doubt. I'm upset. 4 in a row. Now they've won 5 in a row. They're the hottest team in the National Football League. No, bar none. Them or Philadelphia, but whatever. It upsets me that I feel like DTR is easily, and it's not a whole lot to write home about. I get it, but DTR is easily playing the best football we've seen from him all year. Gets rocked, gets taken out. Like I said, it's not groundbreaking stuff, but I can't help but be okay, if DTR doesn't get hurt, are we in this game?
Yeah.
Maybe all right, PJ Walker, he's off the roster in a couple of weeks. Totally agree with you there. I don't know if I'm sold on Flacco. I think if DTR clears concussion, he's going to play just because Flacco is just dead back there. I don't know
that that's a bad thing though.
If we had downfield weapons and if we had offensive threats, but we don't have anyone.
And that's fair. And here's where I'm just going to interject really quickly. 2 things. One, I think that for the offensive line right now, it's just better to have a statue back there because at least then they're not doing the extra mile of trying to make sure, DTR survives as long as he can or PJ Walker survives as long as he can. Right. The second point to that is it just shows that, DTR, he's such a rookie, he probably should not have rolled out and
Correct.
held the ball as long as he did on that final pass of his. But,
Correct.
It's just one of those situations where the pass game outside of Watson is really just dead. It's tough. It's a struggle to get to 250 consistently. And, 1 week Amari is doing great things. And the next week it's we hardly get him the ball or whatever. I actually was very surprised. I don't know what the reasoning was for him kind of blowing up, but Cedric Tillman had a good game.
Yep.
But again, like David Njoku has a couple of key drops. Jerome Ford has a great amount. Now, those are bad drops, but those are also bad passes. And Elijah Moore, Jeff and I were texting before this. Listen, I'm not out on the guy yet, but man,
no, I'm out on
man, are we just? I don't want to be out on him. We traded a second round pick for him, but
sucks.
He's bad. I mean, he had.
It's like you cannot come every week and be like, okay, we have these injuries.
Yeah.
Last week, and I don't even think we even played that good last week. Like we played good enough to win, but that doesn't mean you played good. But like you can't have
the Steelers on their last game of Matt Camp.
Correct. But like you can't have all these injuries and then your backups like stink. Yeah. Like if you're or even your starters, like the wide receiver, the pass catchers can't catch the ball. Cooper doesn't have a great game. Cooper has probably one of his worst games as a Brown, for multiple reasons, hurt, injured, drops the 2-point conversion, whatever. Elijah Moore's not good. And Njoku's 50-50 if he's going to come down with the football. He's either making a circus catch or he's dropping the easy one. And it costs us. The easy ones cost us yards. And like the way this offense operates, you cannot make up for 0 yards and negative yard plays. And there's just too many of them. You have to get, even if you get 2 yards on a play. Yesterday, I'm like, wow, we moved the ball forward. Cool. So you can't have all these injuries and then have the backups and, your playmakers who are left suck. The defense is fine. They're getting a little bit figured out because I don't think they're not doing well with the design quarterback runs. I'm glad. I don't think that's going to be an issue this week. So that's a plus. But you have injuries. Denzel is not playing. Miles is not playing good. I had 2 people play good yesterday. Cedric Tillman and JOK. Those are the only 2 guys. You cannot have these 50, it's a 50-plus man roster, 25 to 30 guys play, maybe a little bit more. You cannot have 2 guys have good days. Like, you're not going to win football games. But to round it out, Justin, here's what I will say about here's what I'll say about the tangible thing in the game. And I'm gonna throw the screen up there because what disappointed me yesterday, and I know people want us to come on here and say that the end around, I don't care. I don't care about the end around, the flip, because you know what? I'm over it. I'm over the play callers on Twitter. I'm over the get rid of Stefanski people. I'm over it because even in this game, the 2-point conversion that worked beautifully had multiple people open, and it was a C+ ball, and Amari Cooper should have caught it, but it was a C. It wasn't a good pass, but Amari Cooper should have caught it. It was the same shell of the play. Right. Direct snap to Hunt, flip it to DTR, who's a quarterback. Pierre Strong should be able to, handle a flip. He's a running back. And DTR is direct in traffic, points, throws the ball, Amari drops it. David Njoku was wide open. I get that the process of that play was not great, but that doesn't mean that the outcome is, the fumble and it's a terrible play call. If you lose 5 yards, what I still would have said was a terrible play call, sure, but you can't be like, okay, let's do this, and we've done this all year, regardless if you like it or not, and then, he fumbles, he gets nervous, deer in the headlights, whatever. But that didn't disappoint me. Side tangent. This is what annoyed me from Stefanski, and I don't think people are grilling him enough for this. Haven't seen it once today, and I haven't been vocal about it online, but this is what bothered me. 24-12, there's 8:30 left. Why did we go for this? Why did we run this play?
I just think at this point they're looking for something, and honestly, again,
look at where we're at though. We were at and I know you're not going to kick a field goal, but we're on the 35. I mean, they could have.
They could have kicked it.
They could have kicked it, but at the end of the day,
12-24, 15-20.
With 8:30 left. Okay, so let's say they didn't even want to kick it. Why don't you send Bajorquez out there to try to pin him, between the 10 and the 5-yard line, if not better, and then you could get a defensive stop. Teams with good defenses should not be going for this.
But when Miles
8.5 minutes left.
Here's my thing. Miles goes out with the injury. My other thing that I wanted to make a point about was Jeff shouting guys out. I need to shout the guy down. Quan Thornhill. Again, another safety that we bring in here who has a ton of experience.
He's better than JJ3 though.
Is he like he maybe
Yes.
like maybe by like the smallest margin, but like again, I'm watching.
He can actually tackle.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm just watching consistent like bad play from players who I just feel like should be doing better, and it's constantly like I don't want to have to replace you, but at the same time, this team is ready. Like it's ready to go. And this is my thing with the Flacco talk is you can't do what the Bengals are like figuratively doing, tanking to get a draft pick because we don't have that. There is no point for this team to give up because there is nothing to give up here outside of, getting a better second to third round picks. And even then, like, who cares? No one here cares about those things anymore. It's time to start like getting nitty and gritty again. And again, we're 1 week removed. Jeff's right. If we win the Rams game, another hot team as of right now, then we're not really too upset. You move to 8-4. You're still in the mix, still very much alive.
But Justin, I think me and you said this 5 or 6 weeks ago. You don't expect to get help because all these other assholes in the AFC win every week. That's another disappointing thing. You don't get 1 ounce of help throughout the week. Miami wins. The Steelers win. Baltimore, doesn't miss a beat. Obviously the Texans lost, but that means the Jaguars won. So at the end of the day, it's like, in the NFC, we're like chilling, like cool, like clearly, like, and we still have, upwards of whatever you put, toward the percentage, you still have a 70+% chance to make the playoffs. But we all know how this works. And I get it. We have the Bengals still on the schedule, and we have the Jets, and we have some other team who, we're clearly better than, even with our second and third string quarterback. I get it. But it's like, I don't know.
It's a National Football League, man.
For sure.
Like, it's the same thing with like people talking about the Bears and stuff. Like, oh, they like people were so ready to just dump on and be done with Fields, and it's like, well, you're gonna go and do that and give up on the team and just give up on the rest of them, and it's like, no, who in the National Football League, any of those guys, unless you're getting, I don't know, if you're a vet and you're at the end of your career, maybe then you don't care. But there's a lot of young guys on this team, on other teams who want it. And if they want it more, they're going to go out and get it. And yesterday, the Broncos, they've been humiliated this season. They've been beaten down. And yet, in the last 5 games, like Jeff has said, they are the hottest team in the NFL. And guess what? It takes a change, or it takes a moment in the locker room, or a moment on the practice field, or a moment in a game to really kind of change the vibe of a team's going. And for me, I don't feel the vibe change in the sense of like, this is a super demoralizing loss. It's a loss, and it's a tough one. It's a hard one to swallow. But again, you get the Steelers win, you get the Ravens win, and you lose to the Broncos, and it's like, all right, yeah, it's an AFC loss, but the division still kind of there. You're a little bit of, on the outside looking in, but you still have a chance there with the Bengals at the end of the season, and a lot of things can happen. But to Jeff's point, to expect help from the Ravens, from the Steelers, from teams outside that are playing those two teams, never, not once. You're sitting at 6 right now. Clearly, like Jeff said, a lot better than a lot of these teams underneath us. I'm banging the table on don't get down. Don't, start losing your mind. But, it's always okay to have, criticisms like Jeff did. There is a lot of his list of disappointing or upsetting things of we're away.
It's so sick. It's just like, it's just so disgusting that we're literally 5-2 in our last 7 games with the product that we put out on the field, and it's like it's just still not enough. Like it's absolutely disgusting. But once again, Justin, we were it's and I'm sure it's like this with other teams, but it just seems like it's every year with this franchise. Like I'm cool with getting beat. Like you got beat yesterday. I'm cool with getting beat the first Baltimore game. You did not get beat in the first Steelers loss. You played like stupid. You had 2 turnovers. You gave them the game. The Seahawks game, yeah. Did the Seahawks play, decent football game? For sure. But like you lose on stupid stuff. So, at the end of the day, you're always going to want, one more game to go your way, one more game to go your way. And yes, like I said, you got the Jets, you got the Bears, you got Cincinnati without Burrow. But to your point, to your credit, there's no gimme games in the National Football League. But at the end of the day, how many games do we have left? 6. If you go 3-3, like it's pretty much very statistically low. We're not in the playoffs. It's not going to be great, considering we were 7-3 and you end at 10-7. Like it's not an elite look, but whatever, 11 wins, you're definitely in the playoffs. I don't know though. 10 wins, you might not even get in the playoffs.
It's a competitive league, and AFC right now, there's a lot of 6-win teams right on our heels.
Yep.
I'd be worried, but again, I'm just looking at the schedule. I mean, I don't know, Jeff.
We're already at our win total from last year. We were at our win total from last year last week.
That's crazy when you think about how well Jacoby was playing in comparison.
What I'm saying, that shows you how bad it shows. Joe Wood should just be, dude. Never employed again.
If could you imagine?
Imagine Jacoby every game this year. We probably only have 1 or 2 losses. You probably lose the Ravens game, and I think that's your only loss. This game, I think you win, and you definitely win the Steelers game, and you definitely win the Seattle game. You're probably 11-1 or whatever, 10-1, and you're in your first seed because that's how it goes. But you know what? That's fine. It's not the case.
Jeff, let me ask you just a final question. Talking about Brissett, what do you think? If at all, do you think the Browns will address the quarterback position outside of the starting quarterback, obviously? Do you think they'll go out and get someone after the season just to be like, no? Okay. Yeah, it's an interesting thing.
They like DTR is cheap.
Yeah.
That's like Barry's mold. That's like Barry's, like his eyes are so wide. He's like, I drafted this guy and he's cheap.
We have so much money, though. That's why, it's interesting to see a couple free agents on the board.
Need the Watson cap hit, man. Come on.
Yeah, but, Jeff, anything else before we call this one a quits? Obviously, 7-4, still a great record, but obviously coming off a loss, not good taste in the mouth. We're
going to have to get the sunglasses back out because if Amari Cooper and Miles Garrett, and DTR are healthy, you pretty much have to win this. You pretty much have to win this game this upcoming week, or you're going to be out of hope. You have to keep the hope up. That's my issue with this team. This team is very momentum and hope oriented. Like they got 3 in a row. It was all cool, but you lose this next week, you're kind of like from out of the wild card to in the hunt. They start showing the graphics. I need 8 wins is just. I don't know. And this Rams team is not very good. Hopefully you get Denzel back, but we'll see.
Yeah, and that's something that we'll have to monitor, of course, with all those guys Jeff listed. We'll get back on here on Friday and get a injury report update and anything sooner if anything else pops up. But with that all being said, thank you all for making it to the end of this video. Make sure you guys are subscribing, hitting the bell notification for when videos go up. We got shorts coming out from Logan for the Cavs and Cavs videos coming up. Speaking of which, we're going to go record that soon. But make sure you guys are also liking and commenting below. What were your guys' takeaways from this game, and what are your takeaways going forward, going into the Rams game? We'll be back with a Rams preview. But with that all being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one.